Right now, like at this exact second, a multi-billion-dollar corporation might be taking money directly out of your pocket. No alarms going off, no broken windows, and the absolute craziest part? It's completely legal. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down exactly how this happens behind the scenes, and more importantly, how you can stop it in its tracks.
You know, most of us go about our daily lives thinking our money is 100% safe inside a regulated bank account. But I really want you to think about this. Is your bank secretly draining your account? The brutal reality here is that if you've got a balance of under $5,000, you might literally be bleeding cash. And your bank? Well, they aren't exactly acting as your financial partner.
$11 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. That is what U.S. banks made last year alone. And they didn't make this from, smart investments or brilliant Wall Street trades. No, they made $11 billion strictly from hitting ordinary people with sneaky hidden fees. Okay, let's dive right into this. If you aren't paying close attention, your bank essentially becomes a silent partner, quietly taking a cut of your hard-earned cash without you even noticing. In this explainer, we're going to expose the top 3 hidden charges U.S. banks use to drain your account, and I'll show you the exact 2-minute tricks you can use today to shut them down completely.
All right, let's get into charge number 1, the monthly maintenance trap.
This one is without a doubt the most insulting fee of the bunch. I want you to imagine walking into a grocery store, grabbing a cart, walking up and down the aisles, putting absolutely nothing in your cart, and then the cashier charges you a fee just for standing in the aisle empty-handed. That's exactly what big banks do. They charge you a fee simply for the privilege of allowing them to hold your money. On average, we're talking $12 to $15 every single month. It might look tiny on one statement, but that's nearly $180 a year. Just gone. Poof.
So why do they do this? The banks will tell you it's to maintain your account infrastructure. But in reality, it's just a penalty for being low income or middle class. They'll gladly waive this fee if you keep a high minimum balance, usually $1,500 or more, or if you have a massive recurring direct deposit. But if you hit a rough patch, if you lose your job or just need to move money around for an emergency, boom, you are penalized for not having enough cash.
But hey, you absolutely do not have to accept this. Here is the exact game plan to fix it. Step 1, call your bank's customer service. Be polite but firm. Just say, I noticed a monthly maintenance fee on my account. I've been a loyal customer and I'd like this waived, or I'm going to have to move my funds to a competitor. Seriously, 9 times out of 10, they will credit it right back to you. Step 2, and honestly, this is the better long-term play. Switch to an online-only bank or a local credit union. Places like Ally Bank, Capital One 360, or Chime, they have 0 monthly maintenance fees, no matter what your balance is.
Now, what's really interesting is charge number 2, the out-of-network ATM scam.
We've all been in this exact situation, right? You're out with friends, you need quick cash, and your actual bank is nowhere to be found. So you hit up a random ATM at a gas station, you figure, okay, I'll pay a $2 or $3 fee to the machine, no big deal. Well, here is the dirty little secret, the double dip. You aren't just paying the gas station's fee, your own bank hits you with an additional penalty fee just for using a competitor's machine.
Because of this double dip, the average cost per out-of-network transaction in the U.S. is $4.73. Let's do the math on that real quick, because it's pretty staggering. If you withdraw $20 and get hit with $5 in combined fees, you have literally just paid a massive 25% tax simply to access your own money.
And somehow, it gets even worse. Did you know some banks will charge you up to $2.50 just to check your balance at a non-network ATM? They are charging you just to look at a digital screen showing your own money. It requires absolutely 0 effort from their servers, yet they treat it like you're asking for some premium white glove service. It's ridiculous.
So let's empower you with the workarounds to bypass this whole shebang. First, just stop checking your balance at the ATM altogether. Use your bank's mobile app. It's totally free. Second, if you need cash on the go, pop into a grocery store or a pharmacy. Buy something super cheap like a pack of gum and just select cash back at the register. It's free and completely bypasses the ATM network. Third, choose ATM-friendly banks. Accounts like Charles Schwab's Checking offer unlimited ATM fee rebates worldwide. They will literally reimburse you for any ATM fee you get hit with. All right, moving on to our final and, frankly, biggest trap. Charge number 3. The ominous overdraft protection illusion. So banks love to sell this to you as a premium, helpful feature. They'll tell you, hey, if you don't have enough cash in your account for that $5 coffee, don't worry, we'll step in and cover it so you aren't embarrassed at the register. Sounds great, right? Wrong. What they strategically fail to mention is that covering that tiny $5 deficit instantly triggers a massive $35 overdraft fee. So your cheap morning coffee? Yeah, it just cost you $40.
This creates what's essentially a brutal slow leak effect. If you accidentally make 3 small purchases in one day while you're overdrawn, that is over $100 in fees stacked up against you in under 24 hours. The banking industry literally rakes in billions off this exact trick, and the data shows it disproportionately targets people living paycheck to paycheck.
Now, the most deceptive part of this entire scheme is how they actually get you to agree to it. By law, banks cannot enroll you in this expensive protection automatically. You have to opt in. But they deliberately hide this opt-in checkbox deep inside those massive, dense terms and conditions documents when you first open the account. They design it to look like just another mandatory box you have to check to proceed.
But you can flip the script on them today. Here's the fix. Log into your online banking portal, search for overdraft settings, and choose to decline or opt out. If you don't have enough money for a purchase, your card will just decline at the register. Sure, it might be slightly embarrassing for about 2 seconds, but it saves you $35 every single time. Alternatively, step 2, set up a backup link. This makes your bank automatically pull from your savings account to cover a checking deficit. Most banks will do this completely for free or for a tiny fraction of a standard overdraft fee.
So, let's talk about how to stop the silent leak once and for all. The crucial point I want you to take away from this is that your bank account should be a tool to build your wealth. It should absolutely not act like a leaking bucket, quietly draining your cash to pad corporate profits. The entire system relies on everyday people staying busy and uneducated about these little charges because, as we saw earlier, those tiny charges add up to an $11 billion payday for them. I want you to go grab your bank statements for the last 3 months. Look very closely for these exact words: maintenance, service charge, or network fee.
Let's wrap this up with a concrete action plan. Check those statements. If you spot those disguised words, call them up and negotiate to reclaim your money. And please, log into your banking app right now to opt out of Overdraft Protection. You can execute this entire plan in under 10 minutes. And honestly, this just brilliantly illustrates the true power of financial literacy. Once you see the hidden mechanics of how these things work, you just can't unsee them. You now have the exact blueprint to stop the silent leak. So I'm going to leave you with one final, very important question to ask yourself. Will you let them keep your money?